Tribes, We Need You to Lead Us by Seth Godin. A book report and application by Rachel Smith-Steinert and Beth Clayton. In Tribes by Seth Godin, a tribe is described as any group of people, large or small, who are connected to one another, a leader, and an idea. A group only needs two things to be a tribe: a shared interest and a way to communicate. Tribes need leaders. Sometimes there's one leader, and sometimes more. Tribes reward innovation. The individual has the power to innovate. Fear is the only impediment in this process. Caring is the key emotion at the center of the tribe. Our tribe is the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program. Our tribe is comprised of students, nurse anesthesia graduate students, didactic faculty who teach the courses, clinical faculty who precept students at the University of Cincinnati, clinical preceptors who actually precept students within the Cincinnati community, and alumni of our program. The nurse anesthesia program at the University of Cincinnati is the fourth oldest program in the nation, and it's entering its 71st year of educating nurse anesthetists. Godin gives a historical perspective of what tribes used to be. Tribes used to be local. Geography used to be important. Now the internet eliminates geography. Tribes can get bigger and aren't hindered by time and/or cost. Social networking is opening the door for many types of tribes to coordinate and connect that didn't exist a generation ago. And with the use of a blog, it makes the creation and tightening of a tribe easier than ever before. Our tribe communicates in various ways. We connect via a community advisory council, via email, Facebook, newsletters, and Twitter. One way that Godin writes that tribes are connected is through faith. Tribes are grounded in respect and admiration for the leader and the other members of the tribe. Tribes are something to believe in. Godin writes that people have started to realize three things. First, as a society, we work a lot. Working on something that we believe in is in general more gratifying. Secondly, organizations are realizing that the historical factory model isn't as profitable as it once was. And third, consumers are spending their money on things that they believe in. The faith that's at the center of our tribe is that certified registered nurse anesthetists provide a safe anesthetic experience and quality outcome for each patient they care for. The general thesis of Godin's book, Tribes, is that for the first time in history, everyone in an organization is expected to lead, not just the boss, not just the so-called leaders. Individuals have more power than ever before. With the nature of today's workplace, change is easier to produce than ever before, and the individual has more leverage because of this. The marketplace is currently rewarding individuals and organizations who change the status quo and make remarkable products. This is engaging, profitable, fulfilling, and fun. Our tribe has had many leaders. The University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program was founded by Mary Costello. Previous program directors such as Vera Greiner, Wanda Wilson, and our current program director, Beth Ann Clayton, have led the program through many changes. In Tribes, Godin lists elements that he considers key pieces of leadership. Godin describes leaders as those who challenge the status quo. He writes, leaders create culture around their goal and involve others in this culture. He states that leaders have an extraordinary amount of curiosity about the world they're trying to change, and they use their charisma to attract and motivate their followers. Leaders commit to a vision and make decisions based on that commitment, and leaders connect their followers to one another. Our tribe's leadership believes that the UC Nurse Anesthesia program educates some of the most superior certified registered nurse anesthetists in the country. We are continually striving to improve the quality of anesthesia care while maintaining high patient satisfaction and being mindful of costs. A key distinction that Godin makes in Tribes is that leadership is not management. He writes that management is about manipulating resources to get a job done. Managers manage a process and react to the outside world to make this process fast, profitable, and as cheap as possible. Managers also have employees. Leaders, however, create change they believe in. Leaders inspire their followers. Skill and attitude are essential to leaders, but authority, however, is not. Currently, our tribe of the University of Cincinnati Nurse Anesthesia program is creating a lot of change. We are the first nurse anesthesia program in the state of Ohio to transition to a DNP program. We are currently developing interprofessional education to facilitate collaboration between medical students and nurse anesthesia students, and we are currently creating an anesthesia simulation lab competency. A major take-home message in Godin's Tribes is that for the leader, average is mediocre. He writes that management works to maintain the status quo, to deliver average products to average people. The goal is to build reliability, predictability, cut costs, and make profits. But for Tribes, average is considered mediocre. Many people defend what they do all day, defending the status quo, the average product. But defending mediocrity is exhausting and will wear you out, in Godin's opinion. Individuals can push their organization today, they can inspire others, and they can change the rules. Godin writes when an individual leads a tribe, the benefits increase, work gets easier, and the results become obvious. Currently, our tribe is striving to become better. At the University of Cincinnati's Nurse Anesthesia program, we are challenging stagnant anesthesia care by pursuing methods to improve anesthesia delivery and patient safety during the perioperative period. We're continually trying to provide superior clinical and didactic education for our students. We maintain high expectations for nurse anesthesia students, and overall we're serving as the community leader and educator in anesthesia care for certified registered nurse anesthetists in the tri-state area. Another take-home message of Tribes is that fear of failure is overrated. Godin writes that individuals are afraid to lead. They are fearful of failure and ultimately blame and criticism. Godin believes that this force, which prevents the individual from leading, is an overrated excuse. He believes that this possible failure that individuals fear would actually be absorbed by their organization. That the individual, however, even in failure, would become noticed. And through this process of failure and becoming noticed, the individual can become the heretic, the one engaged, the one that's passionate, the more powerful and happier one than everyone else. Godin writes, if it scares you, it might be a good thing to try. When we look at what our tribe at the University of Cincinnati's Nurse Anesthesia program stands for, certain thoughts come to mind. We advocate for patients daily. We demand vigilance of our students and our clinical practitioners. We inspire innovation in education and in clinical practice, and we demonstrate professionalism on a daily basis. Another take-home message in Tribes is that leadership is actually about the tribe. Godin writes ego is not part of leadership. Great leaders focus on their tribe. Leaders are generous and exist to help the tribes thrive. Great leaders reflect their spotlight to their team. Leaders don't necessarily want attention, but they use it to unite and reinforce the purpose of the tribe. When poor leaders abuse the attention, this is at the cost of the tribe, and Godin believes this isn't leading, this is taking. The leaders of our tribe at the University of Cincinnati Nurse Anesthesia program believe in a certain mantra. We're always present. We lead by example. We teach to learn. We provide support to our students and the community. And then we let the next generation of nurse anesthetists shine. Another key message in tribes, Godin writes, is that leaders feel discomfort. Godin writes that leadership is rare because individuals inherently don't want to feel the discomfort. He writes it's uncomfortable to stand up in front of strangers, to propose a risky idea, to challenge the status quo, and resist settling. Godin believes that as a leader, if you aren't uncomfortable in your work, you haven't reached your potential as a leader. Leaders either lean in or back off, depending on the situation, but leaders never do nothing. Another message in Godin's tribes is that leaders are curious. Godin writes a curious person explores first and then determines whether or not to accept a fact. A curious person has a desire to try, understand, and push the envelope. Godin writes it's curiosity that will lead an individual to their own greatness and away from mediocrity. Curiosity drives the leader and prompts the changes in the tribe to make real progress. At the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program, we're curious. What's the best way for our students to learn? We believe through various modalities, our students leave the program with an excellent basic anesthetic knowledge to go out and treat patients in the community. Through simulation, through collaboration with clinical experts in interprofessional roles, and through clinical experiences at various community hospitals, we believe we provide a well-rounded anesthetic education. Another key message in Godin's tribes is he writes for individuals not to be a sheepwalker. A sheepwalker doesn't think out of the box. Sheepwalkers are obedient. They're often in brain-dead jobs, and they're motivated by fear and are compliant. Godin writes, you can claim the career you want by refusing to walk down the same path that those before you have walked. Godin writes, you have to take risks, you have to be remarkable. We believe at the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program that if you don't take risks, you can't create the future. An interesting idea that Godin writes about is that the largest enemy of change isn't actually saying no. It's the safe response, and the one that stalls change is not yet. Change almost never fails because it's too early, but because it's too late. Within our tribe at the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program, there are many changes occurring simultaneously. Within the past year, we've had a new program director join our tribe. We also are currently looking for a new department chair of the anesthesia department at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Competing nurse anesthesia programs are sprouting up in the tri-state area. And currently, contract negotiations are occurring for the University of Cincinnati Medical Center's nurse anesthetists. All of these changes greatly impact the education that is offered at the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program. But instead of being fearful of these changes, we realize that challenges and changes create opportunity. One of the last key messages that Godin writes about in tribes is exactly how to create your own micro-movement. Every leader cares for and supports a movement. Godin writes that the key elements in starting your own movement consist of 5 things to do and 6 principles. The 5 things to do that Godin describes are, number 1, to publish a manifesto. A tribe or a leader must have a mantra or motto, a way of looking at the world. You need to make it easy for followers to connect with you. The leader must make it easy for followers to connect with one another. And overall, the leader must realize that money is not the actual point of the movement. Money only exists to enable it. A leader must track their tribe's progress. They must create pathways for their followers to contribute towards the progress. At the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program, we're creating a movement. We have clinical coordinators at all of our clinical sites that have become official University of Cincinnati College of Nursing faculty. We've received funding to support the University of Cincinnati Medical Center's clinical faculty involvement in the program's didactics. And we've united the anesthesia residency program and the nurse anesthesia program to participate collaboratively in simulation trainings. Godin writes in Tribes that the micro-movement must be based on certain principles. The first of which is that transparency is the only option. The movement must be bigger than the leader. Movements that continue to grow will thrive. Movements are most clear when compared to the status quo. Movements will exclude an outsider. And movement within a movement, tearing down others is never as helpful to a movement as building the followers up within it. Here we've applied Godin's Tribes to our tribe at the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program. But Godin's work is directly relatable to the world of business, but can be applied to many areas. Because Godin focuses on the individual, the strength of one person is emphasized and focused upon to create change. One can see how his work can be applied to education, to healthcare, to the nonprofit sector, and even to volunteer work. By recognizing one's own power and ability to lead, any individual can effect change and challenge the status quo. We believe that our tribe at the University of Cincinnati's nurse anesthesia program is truly developing the best nurse anesthetists for tomorrow's patients.